Wow, Susie, there were some really mind-blowing trivia facts about quotas in there. That was fantastic stuff, but it really just shows you're not quite in touch with reality. So let's talk about reality, shall we? Who here today believes the glass ceiling is a myth? Oh, I can see one hand, maybe two. Bugger. That means I can't go and sit down. Okay. All right, well, I'm here to say the glass ceiling is a reality, and here are some of the reasons why. Barriers women face in the workplace today include lack of family-friendly work policies, also exclusion from informal men's networks, and preconceptions of women's traits and competencies. There is absolutely no denying in Australia you must work extremely long hours if you want to climb the corporate ladder. In my early years at Morris, I was tasked with a project that required human resources way beyond those allocated. Total resources allocated, me. I put in 90 plus hours a week for 3 months straight with 1 day off, Christmas Day. I went and asked the general manager for help, who seemed to have a little bit of time on his hands. But he said he couldn't because he was working on quality assurance. Well, excuse me. I was actually forced to ask my mum to help. Hi, Mum, and thank you. That's life, you may say. However, come time for Christmas bonus handouts, every single male in that office got one except me, including the general manager. At the time, it was almost soul-destroying. Since being asked to debate today, I've spoken to many women who have experienced the glass ceiling. Every single one of them vehemently describes the boys' club, jobs for the boys, deals done on the golf course, in the rugby club. And as I was told by one woman, in the mining industry, even in the men's showers. Amazing. Google boys' club and what comes up? Absolutely nothing. It's true. Supposedly it doesn't exist, and yet we all know exactly what it means. So how do we fight this? Because I absolutely draw at the line of having a shower with them. I'm sure some men would happily say you have to do what you have to do. I say bullshit. I got to where I am today through hard work and focus on what is best for the business. We all achieve differently, and quotas will help us help force this acceptance. I don't believe there is a single woman here today who has not at some point battled with preconceptions of women's traits and competencies. Who has read this book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus? Yeah. I tried, but I ended up having to throw it in the bin. Thinking, traumatised, my God, I'm a man. When I got over this shock, I started to wonder, do other female CEOs have these masculine traits? Did they have to fight and yell and shout their way to the top like I did? Did they have to change from natural introverts to learned extroverts and not feel comfortable with it? I read recently that women do it their way best. An expert said to get ahead at work, women should resist acting like men. Jasmine Liger, an organisational psychologist who has advised ANZ, AMP and Macquarie, said that instead of behaving aggressively in the workplace, women should display feminine traits, such as listening to others. Actually, this is really inspiring stuff. It is. And in a quota world, it could be a reality. Unfortunately, in today's quota-less world, I'm really loath to say, women must at times act aggressively, or they will not be heard, let alone listened to, and they will be overlooked by men. For those of you that can't read that caption, it actually says, "That's an excellent suggestion, Miss Triggs. Perhaps one of the men would like to make it?" Susie Wright herself, in a recent QBR article, said, "The toughest thing is trying to remain a woman in a man's world." It appears the opposition agrees with me. It is still a man's world in corporate Australia. But seriously, cracking the glass ceiling comes at a considerable cost, a cost that is totally unacceptable and wouldn't exist with quotas. In summing up, I admit it is possible to shatter the glass ceiling. But when you consistently hear that only 2% of Australia's CEOs are women, it makes quite a pathetic argument against the introduction of quotas. So let me leave you with this final statement. It is hard enough to get to the top. It shouldn't be even harder for women. The glass ceiling is a reality, and quotas will help us crack that ceiling. Quotas are a girl's best friend. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who are wondering what happened to that GM, the last I heard he was doing quality audits on sand in Saudi Arabia somewhere.